Joining me on the show today is Deputy Joe Groover with the Hall County K-9 unit. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Joe.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. Well, tell me a little bit about how K-9s came to be at the Hall County Sheriff's Office.
We got our first patrol K-9, official patrol K-9 in 2003, and he was trained in narcotic detection and basically criminal apprehension. Started catching some people that normally would have escaped if we hadn't had the dog there. So the county saw the benefit of the program. We got some donated funds through some of the supporters in the county, and we were able to purchase 3 more of the patrol dedicated dogs, and actually hired me from Savannah in 2006. So that brought the total up to 5. We just started catching people that, like I said, with the employment of the dogs and assistance of the dogs, folks that run into the wood line may have escaped capture earlier, we were able to get them. Later, that kind of developed into a program inside of our schools. We saw how the dogs were, with their nose, we could train them to detect specific odors, be it explosives, narcotics. So we put 4 of the dogs inside of the schools to use as a deterrent and locating devices inside the schools themselves to kind of curb some of the potential issues with narcotics or any type of illegal substances. And that started in, I believe, the later end of 2006. We also have an explosives detection dog inside the courthouse, and of course that goes without saying, the benefit of that.
Right.
A dog is trained specifically to locate explosives, odors. In the world that we're living in today, that can be a big benefit.
Sure.
Hopefully we'll never have to use that dog in an actual scenario, but he's trained and he's ready if that ever does come. We have dogs also that are over at the man's unit, our multi-agency narcotics squad. All they do is detect narcotics. So we're using a lot of dogs in Hall County. They're doing their job.
So how many total dogs do we have
There
now?
are 13. 13 total dog teams in Hall County.
Okay. Well, tell me about them. What kind of breeds are they? How old are they?
Various breeds. With our patrol animals, we tend to go towards the shepherding line. We have some German shepherds, and we have some dogs that are, the breed is called Belgian Malinois, commonly referred to as Belgian shepherds. And then we have some that are mixtures of those. We're not really concerned too much about the breed or how the dog looks. We're more concerned about the genetics of the animal, what his basic instinctual drives are. If he has the drives to perform the task, we like them. But most of our narcotic detection dogs are Labradors, real affable, friendly animals, because we don't need an apprehension dog inside of a school.
Right.
We want a dog that can roll over and somebody can come up and pet his belly, and then it go and find what it needs.
Yeah, I always think of the shepherds as being police dogs. I didn't realize that other breeds were also.
Sure, absolutely. Labradors are very popular. Like I said, if you need an odor detection specific dog, that's very popular, because you don't have to worry about the animal trying to catch anything or anybody. The dog was just loving me and let me go and find my toy, and that's their life. They're real popular with stuff like that.
So this has really improved crime fighting in Hall County, hasn't it?
It has. It has. And when it started, people didn't realize that we had, on the patrol side, didn't realize we had patrol dogs. So once the word got out that, hey, if you run and you hide, what used to you would get away, now they're finding you. So now they're more of a deterrent. Officers pull a vehicle over and somebody that, and this is out of their own mouths, that normally would have run or would have resisted arrest or something, when they see the dog car pull up, it's not going to end up good for me, so let me go ahead and surrender. And that keeps us safe. It keeps the officers from injury, and it keeps the suspect as well from having to run and us having to do other means of control with them.
And from what I understand, you are always out there training. When do you start training with a dog? When do you go and pick out a dog and begin the training, and how often do you have to keep that up?
Well, the selection of the animal begins, we hire contractors, and actually selection begins at birth. They'll test, they have, and it's beyond my scope of ability, but they somehow can figure out which little puppy is going to be better for which line of work. And they'll train those dogs overseas in Holland. Our broker will buy them at around 18 months, and then we'll go and we'll look for animals that have, first and foremost, a good prey drive, because everything that we work off of is motivating the animal to find a toy. And we'll kind of relate that toy with the specific odor that we want them to look for. And in the patrol side of the house, we're looking for animals that will actually engage equipment on a person, and excuse me, and we can just turn that into a big game and just kind of work at it from there. So the selection process begins around 18 months to 2 years. But it's an ongoing process as far as maintenance level, as far as, the training, the proficiency training. It never stops.
So are these dogs pretty expensive to maintain because of all the training and the value that they have?
They are generally within $5,000 to $6,000 for what's called a green dog, a dog that hasn't received all of its initial training yet. And that's because I would say a 0.1% of all the police dogs out in the world have the instinctual drives to do what we need from police dogs. I mean, these are dogs that will walk through a mile of woods and then go and grab a person, where most dogs in public wouldn't do that. So they're expensive because they're very rare.
And from a taxpayer's point of view, I guess we can look at the dogs as paying for themselves because they track down narcotics, and that is worth
Absolutely.
Money to the sheriff's office. Correct?
Narcotics as well as man hours with deputies. If a bank robber ran into the woods without the assistance of the police dogs, you'd have to get a helicopter and dozens of officers combing through the woods to find this person. Whereas a dog team and maybe 2 or 3 backup folks can go and you eliminate a lot of man hours that way. So yeah, they'll pay for themselves pretty quick. Unfortunately, that's behind the scenes stuff that the average taxpayer doesn't see that, but right. Yeah, they do. They pay for themselves pretty quick.